Com isto chegamos, nós estamos com 2 meses de administração Trump nos Estados Unidos e o mundo está virado do avesso.
Stephen Miller, the White House Deputy Chief of Staff, is here with me now. Stephen, thanks very much for being in the arena.
Glad to, thank you.
Miguel, o que é que está a acontecer aos Estados Unidos depois de 2 meses de Donald Trump como presidente?
Mas vou deixar de lado as questões de política externa, que são muito impressionantes, mas falamos aqui várias vezes. Concentramos só naquilo que têm sido as medidas de política interna de Trump nos Estados Unidos. E que eu acho que estão a conduzir os Estados Unidos para um regime, chamemos assim, que já não pode ser democrático. É autocrático antes de ser uma ditadura.
The President of the United States and his administration reserve all rights under the Constitution to conduct national security operations in defense of the United States. The Alien Enemies Act, which was passed into law by the founding generation of this country, men like John Adams, was written explicitly to give the President the authority to repel an alien invasion of the United States. That is not something that a district court judge has any authority whatsoever to interfere with, to enjoin, to restrict, or to restrain any way. You can read the law yourself. There's not one clause in that law that makes it subject to judicial review, let alone district court review. And I love being here, but all the outrage that we are seeing from the Democrat Party and from the corporate media, none of that outrage was expressed when little Jocelyn Nungare was tortured and beaten to death. None of that outrage was expressed when our nation was flooded by illegal aliens.
Mais grave que isto tudo para mim foi a questão dos venezuelanos expulsos para El Salvador.
El Salvador.
E porquê? Zé, eu não sei se eles eram criminosos ou não, mas o Trump resolveu que eles eram criminosos. Deu a sentença, são criminosos. Sem julgamento. Se eles poderem defender nem nada, sem processo. Resolveu, estes tipos são criminosos.
So you called the judge's order just earlier today, quote, patently unlawful, end quote, and said that it was an assault on democracy itself. Does that mean that the administration is ignoring this order, and might you ignore future court orders that meet the criteria you laid out?
Well, so first of all, there's a term in law, justiciable. This is not justiciable. In other words, this is not subject to judicial remedy. When the president is exercising his Article 2 powers to defend the country against an invasion or to repel a foreign terrorist that is unlawfully in the country, under the Constitution, who makes that determination? A district court judge elected by no one or the commander-in-chief of the Army and Navy? The president and the president alone makes a decision of what triggers that determination.
So do you then
in the
think we
statute.
are actually at war with Venezuela, the nation state of Venezuela?
You're not hearing me and you're not understanding me. Read the statute, Alien Enemies Act, 1798. It says if a predatory incursion is perpetrated by a foreign government, so it lists three qualifying actions. It could be an act of war.
It does say in the very beginning there has to be a declared war against a nation or a state. That's what it says.
No, wrong. Look up the statute. It's on my account on social media.
That's actually where we found it earlier.
Yes, it says or a predatory incursion or an invasion. The statute delineates 3 criteria for triggering the Alien Enemies Act. One is an act of war, which, by the way, an invasion is an act of war, but put that aside. One is an invasion, which this is. One is a predatory incursion, which this is. So it actually meets all 3 statutory criteria. But with respect to this particular statute, the proclamation is utilizing the incursion and invasion language in the statute.
Qual é a pena? A pena não é expulsá-los simplesmente do país. É mandá-los para a prisão num país terceiro. Isto cabe na cabeça de alguém.
President Trump and Secretary of State Marco Rubio had engaged in intensive diplomacy to obtain a bilateral security agreement with the nation of El Salvador. If a district court judge can enjoin that bilateral security agreement, then we do not have a democracy.
Stephen, you've made your argument.
We do not have a foreign policy.
We've heard you say this.
Que aceitou alegremente.
É pago. Porque ele paga também. E são as piores prisões do mundo, são em El Salvador.
Sim.
Isto é inimaginável. Quer dizer, ele dá a sentença sem julgamento. Dá a pena, e a execução da pena nem sequer é feita nos Estados Unidos, nem no país de origem, na Venezuela, é feita num país terceiro, nas piores prisões do mundo, a quem ele paga.
É a subversão de tudo.
É a subversão de tudo. E depois vem um juiz tentar impedir isto, E parem o avião e o avião partiu. E o juiz pergunta depois, eu quero que me provem que o avião partiu
Depois de eu ter tomado a decisão.
antes de eu tomar a decisão,
Sim.
que não foi depois que partiu. A resposta deles, este juiz, vamos fazer um impeachment a este juiz. E anda o Elon Musk anda a pagar as campanhas dos congressistas republicanos que defenderam que se faça o impeachment dos juízes que não seguem a política do Trump. Isto é atacar a Constituição. Isto é pôr em causa a separação de poderes. É o poder executivo a querer tomar a mão do poder judicial.
The judge, in this case, put the lives of every single person on those aircraft at risk. Did he know how much fuel was in those planes? Did he know the flight conditions? Did he know the weather conditions? Did he know how many crew hours? Did he know the need for crew rest? Did he know any of that? No. This judge violated the law. He violated the Constitution.
So do
he
you
defied
think that
the system of government that we have in this country.
Because that does seem
And
to
by
be
the
what
way,
you're arguing here.
these same district court judges didn't do a damn thing to stop Joe Biden from flooding this nation with millions of illegal aliens. Do these district court judges didn't issue any injunctions to save the lives of Jocelyn
Is the
Hungary
White
or
House
Laken
above
Riley or
the
anyone
federal
else?
courts? Is that what you're saying?
You said the way our system works is the President of the United States commands the armed forces of the country, commands the foreign policy of the country, and that's subject to district court review. That is fundamentally untrue.
I never said that, Stephen. I did not say
that has never been true.
This was not a military operation.
How are you going to expel illegal alien invaders from our country who are raping little girls, who are murdering little girls, if each and every deportation has to be adjudicated in a district court judge? That means you have no country, it means you have no sovereignty, it means you have no future. It is fundamentally incompatible to have a country and have individual expulsions adjudicated by a single district court judge.
I'm just trying to figure out at what point in the system do you, because...
If the president has to litigate every national security action with 700 district court judges, then we don't have a functioning democracy.
Let me ask you one other question about...
Under a proper reading of the Constitution, district court judges provide relief to individual plaintiffs seeking relief. District court judges do not have the authority, as a general matter, to enjoin the functioning of the executive branch. But their authority is at its lowest point when the president is exercising his powers as commander-in-chief.
Por isso é que eu digo que os Estados Unidos já não são uma democracia, não se pode classificar como uma democracia, são uma autocracia e com o culto do homem só tem qualquer coisa de Coreia do Norte, aquilo.